Uh, all right. It's nice to have you all here today. I think this is a topic that is underserved. We don't talk about it a lot, but I think it has like a very big impact in terms on your advertising campaign, your business plans in general, and basically any activity that you do that is related to your products or services. So I'm gonna get started now, and then feel free in the meantime to introduce yourselves in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from, what is your business about, and basically, yeah, the name or any links that you want to share about your business. I know we do this every time, but also I know for a fact that a lot of people have built meaningful connections through the chat box in these events. So I highly encourage you to do that. Elvira?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying something. Okay. I will get started. So it's good at least to have Elvira today in this session, just as her presence is usually like provides additional support for me, but also she has a lot of examples. I know she's a little bit sick today, so we will give you a little bit of rest as well to speak in one additional session or one additional call today. So basically, thank you everybody for coming. What we will cover today is the buyer persona and how it ties into many elements of your marketing campaign, your marketing funnel, and primarily your marketing messages as well. I think you all can see my screen. We will cover today as well the buyer persona. What are the most common mistakes that people have or do when creating customer persona? What, sorry, what a buyer persona really is, as opposed to what or how people usually use it. What are certain sources that we need to consider to be able to develop these buyer personas? Some templates and tools. I think some of you may be familiar with some of these, but it would be so I would provide like the new stuff and stuff that I think are also underserved or many people do not use them because HubSpot is more popular. And then we'll have a small exercise, basically a fake case study that I've developed so we can test it out and try to get some apologies. I think my screen has shifted. Try to get you to exercise what this means in terms from a persona to marketing messages. So why is the persona really relevant in order to be able to draft better marketing messages? And how we will see that in a very specific example with a fake case study that's called EcoSip. I want to take a few seconds here. I did already answer a little bit that question very briefly, but if I were to ask you why buyer personas matter for your business, can you tell me, like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? I think if anyone wants, they can unmute themselves and participate, but please keep your answers quite short. Anyone has any answer?
Yes. As someone who works in marketing, it's very important to have a specific target market or a niche. So if you're able to boil down to one buyer persona, for example, then you know how to word your marketing document, you know how your business should sound, what it should look like, and all of that.
Perfect. I think theoretically that makes sense, but what I see people do in business, or basically even us as marketeers, sometimes we step away from the personas when we've been working with a brand, or we think we know the brand, or or the product or the personas a lot, sometimes we get distracted and we shift away from that. So that's true. And this is why when we work with SMEs, we tend to every time re-question them and get asking them to go back to your original buyer persona. Thank you, Leah. So basically, what does it mean? So why buyer persona really matter? In general, that is, and this is how you can convince basically anyone to adopt any of your, sorry, I think someone is not muted. All right. Thank you. So basically, however, you want to convince any business to try to change any of their already existing behaviors or methods of operation, you can tie the change or what you're suggesting for them to do into financial gain. So, and that makes perfect sense when we talk about the buyer persona, because when you do persona focused or driven campaigns, you have in general a 124 higher return on investment based on investing this budget to advertising and how much it will return on investment as compared to non-persona driven campaigns. And honestly, in this day and age when we have all of these competitors, all of these platforms, all of this content going online, having something that feels for the customer that is exactly written or addressed to them, by default, that has a higher chances of turning into sales. So the better targeting you do, the better messaging, or you can really customize the messages to your target audience, the better conversions you have. And I've added here an example. It could have been honestly any big brand if we want. But here in that example, Nike not only targets, they do not run generic ads or do campaigns that target all of the customers or audience personas. But here specifically, they ran campaign focusing only on female athletes, and specifically what if I would be working in Nike, would have called my persona motivated runners. In that case, motivated female runners. And you can see that even in the messaging, even in the visual elements and the colors, it's very, very targeted and very relevant and emotional towards these motivated runners. So it's not only about pre-planning your campaigns, but also how you deliver, how you craft, how you design your campaign to be relevant to your target audience. Now, also, there are other elements that are relevant in terms of the return of investment of personas. Not only like for you to be able to have higher sales, that means that every touch point before that also has like an improved conversion rate. So in that case, we can see a 55% increase in lead quality. So even the people who actually end up visiting your website are more relevant and are actually the customers that you want, and not just anybody. And yeah, I mean, I know a lot of brands that would tell you, if you ask them, like, who is your target audience? They would tell you anybody and everybody. This might be true, but in terms of focusing your marketing effort, you need to focus your marketing effort on your best customers or your potential best customers. So yeah, you can see like an increase in lead quality. That could be website traffic, or that could be, for example, if you're selling products that have a higher value, like I don't know, if you're a B2B business, then definitely as well, this would be like better quality of potential contacts. And also when you apply this persona-based marketing to email marketing, you have an increase of 14% in click-through rate. And if you've attended the previous session I've run on Ecom Connect, you know that I'm a big fan of email marketing. And I think it has like one of the highest return on investment in terms of marketing strategies. So imagine being able to increase that most successful tool you have with a 14% higher click-through rate. So this is all to say that the more specific, the more targeted, the more you know your customers, the higher chances you have of actually pushing them through the funnel, through the marketing funnel, in a effortless way and having higher conversions. Now, what are some problems with the way people usually approach customer personas? Most entrepreneurs think they know their customers, but most of the time they are guessing. So one of the biggest mistakes they can make is basically creating personas based only on assumptions. Now, of course, there is some element of assumption that goes into that, but it shouldn't only be based on assumptions. Like they would assume the age, they would assume the gender without really any very serious data. Of course, you have to make a lot more assumptions when you're starting a new business, but you should already have an idea of who you're starting the business for. Who will eventually buy your product? What kind of solution are you providing, or what kind of problem are you solving? So there is some guesswork, but usually before you end up developing a product or service, some research is needed for you to be able to validate whether there's an actual need or not. And this research can be serving as the base of your customer persona development. So I know that in general I've talked about age and gender, but relying only on these demographics is a very shallow targeting. So I've worked with SMEs before trying to get them to develop customer persona, and they get so honed into the women, in this case, Jessica, 30, likes shopping and social media. This might be true, but this is not really the main elements that we are looking for. This helps us identify whether Jessica spends time on Instagram or on TikTok, depending on her age. But this is not the targeting that we want to use or the level of targeting we want to use. It helps us set sorry, I don't know who is unmuted. It helps us set a certain landscape for you to imagine that person, but we need to go a little bit beyond this to try and understand the actual buying triggers. So what would get Jessica, who's 30, to buy this brand and not this brand? So we need to understand the motivation. So when I talk about Jessica, who's 30, there could be one Jessica who buys, for example, because she wants organic baby food, and another one who is really looking for a pre-workout or a protein snack. This is also for the same brand, same product. So we want to see the typographic more than the demographics as well in an audience persona. But it's true that, for example, we don't want to have male female audience persona or someone that is Jessica between 30 and 60, because that would also affect their interest, their motivation, and their psychographics. So that's why we say that one size fits all messaging in terms of buy this product, or this is the product for you, is really a result of it results in very or lower, much lower conversions. Some common mistakes that people do as well when creating personas is they don't, even if your information has been based on like some research or a certain gut feeling, or because you work in the industry, it's better as well to validate it by some data. Some people add a lot of vanity details, what we call vanity details, things like loves coffee and yoga, but that is not really relevant to their decision making. And I've seen this happen a lot as well when people mix users versus buyers. So who uses the product might be different than actually who buys the product. So are you targeting the user or you're targeting the buyer? So in that case, that's a very evident example. But in the case of toys, these are the parents who buy and not the children. So you want to focus your messaging on the buyers. And other sectors, for example, when we talk about jewelry, it's not usually the person who buys the jewelry is different than the person who wears them. It's a little rarer for people to buy their own jewelry, although I've seen this change through time. We had a specific research on that topic where they would tell you people are starting to buy their own jewelry. So these are some things that you want to keep in mind. And that's also why, an additional reason why this research or research in general about audience persona, and their behavior is important. Now, we've talked about the common mistakes. Why is it important in terms of generating a return on investment? So as you can imagine, if you don't do proper audience persona and then proper audience persona segmentation, you will waste advertising money. You will have a lower click-through and engagement, and you will lose a little bit um, this trust in your product. And I know this is very important for small businesses or entrepreneurs, because they know that they have a good product, but then the sales do not necessarily reflect that. Or sometimes they say, okay, digital or social media advertising does not work. It's always the same answer for me. If you're not doing it properly, then you cannot really say that it's not working. So this is one answer I usually have. So when your persona are really shallow, there's another thing that is very relevant. It's people will have objections to your product. Either it's too expensive, or they do not know whether they want to trust you, or okay, this is good, but I need something that's I don't know, more sustainable. So by understanding these personas, you are able to really target these objections before they become objections. Price, trust, or for example, delivery concerns. That means that you have lower risks of having abandoned carts. Some people add to cart and then they do not convert. So usually you target these objections on the product page if you have an e-commerce, or and depending if you are in B2B, in the conversation with your potential customers. So these are very important to in the element of doing customer persona. Objections are very, very relevant. Also, understanding your customer audience or your persona helps you draft actual value proposition that when people read, say, oh, was written for me. Like, they do not say it in their head, but this is what they feel. And I'm sure it has happened to you. You're scrolling through Instagram, or I don't know which platform, and then you say, okay, but this is the product. This is what I've been looking for. And this is when you know that this is like, look, when you find these posts, when you find these copy or these brands or products, try to analyze like what made you feel like this was written for you. What is the thing that made you stop and say, oh, let me read the caption here, for example? This is a good exercise in terms of understanding your like the importance of customer persona. And I hope after this webinar, this will start happening to you whenever you're scrolling down on social media platform. So what is a buyer persona really is? It's not only as simple as saying, yeah, my customers are women between the age of 20 to 50. It's a little bit more in depth than that. So you want to look at the goal. So what is this person's goal in life? Their pain points. Okay, this is one of the ways you can convince them, but also one of the ways you can preemptively address the messages by saying, but without saying really, we know you have this pain point, but by saying this is why this product is good for you. The triggers. So what are the certain triggers that the person, how they think, what pushes them to buy a product. And trust me, you may think it's price only. It's not always the case, and it might be for certain customers. But it's not necessarily the main criteria in the decision making for people, whether they buy a certain product or not. So in that example I've shared, we have here two examples, primarily for a potential customer, but this for a general brand. So you have Clark Andrews. He's a software development. He's single. He lives in California. Okay, these are vanity indications, but it helps for you to imagine who the person is. Um, he says here, I feel like there's a smarter way for me to transition into a healthier lifestyle. So this clerk is trying to improve his lifestyle, but don't know how to start. He needs something that works for him, something that is a little smarter, as he says. So you can see his preferred channels: social media, mobile, email, traditional ads. I think this is not very up to date, but I will ignore this for now. And you can see his motivation. So he has a few motivation, but then most importantly, the goals and the frustration. So his goal is to cut down on unhealthy eating and drinking habits, to measure multiple aspects of life more scientifically. So most likely how much calories he spends in his lifestyle, and to set the goals and see and make positive impact on his life. So that looks like this is what he decided to do after a new year, and this is his New Year's resolution. And his frustrations are he is unfamiliar with wearable technology. So for most people who have already tried smartwatches, he doesn't really fit that same profile. He's saturated tracking market, so there are a lot of options, and he doesn't know how to pick a smartwatch or a wearable in that case. And what he's doing right now is manually tracking his consumption and food, and this is too time consuming. So you already know exactly what are certain frustrations, and in that case, a lot of objections that he would have. Like, convince me why. I think in that case, we're selling, for example, a smartwatch. Why, and it's why would I buy your smartwatch? You can explain, for example, that it's tied into a software that automatically tracks and keeps you updated. All of the reasons why people like Clark would buy your product and not regular other product. Another example here is Jill. Again, Jill is married. I mean, you can add a little bit of elements. You can see the brands that they follow, but in her case, she's the archetype of the frequent flyer because of her work. So she's the regional director of some brand. She travels 4 to 8 times each month for work. She has a specific region that she tackles. And yeah, she's motivated by price less, but most importantly, her main criteria are comfort, convenience, and price come third. As you can imagine, because I think she makes enough money for whatever we're trying to sell her in that case. Her goals is to spend less time booking travel uh, and to narrow her options quickly. So I think we're sending her some software that helps her find the best route for her to take every time she flies. Her frustration is too much time spent booking. She's very busy, obviously. Too many websites visited per trip, so she has to book the hotel on the website, the flight on another website, and it gets too complicated. And she's not terribly tech savvy. She really doesn't like the process. I mean, you would imagine that a person like Jill has an assistant, but that's apparently not the case. But by understanding again these frustrations and what motivates her. So in her case, she's motivated by convenience and not price. So even if your product or service is priced higher than the rest, as long as you help her solve her problems, uh, you are golden. That means that for sure, Jill will buy your service and become a repeat customer. Another element that I like to very much integrate into audience personas that I think the usual templates that we use do not do that, are basically the jobs to be done approach. So we might think that some people actually buy products, but actually we hire these products to do a job. Every time we make a purchase, we are trying to either solve a problem or give a certain satisfaction or pleasure or enjoy the experience. So all of these are actually jobs. So once you start thinking about this way, you can reframe a lot of ways and that your product can solve these problems. So in general, when we focus on jobs to be done, we want to ask or answer very specific questions, like what problems is the customer trying to solve? In that case, that would be their goals or trying to solve their frustrations. What progress are they seeking? What do they want to improve in their lives? And what barriers stand in the way? What blocks them from doing that? An example that we will be using a little bit later in the presentation is, for example, your average bamboo water bottle. Okay, when you buy it, you're actually hiring this bottle to either contribute to reducing plastic waste, which is an emotional job, or for example, to use it to stay hydrated either at the gym or the office. That person that actually is using the bottle to go to the gym, he or she does not actually care about plastic waste. So it's okay. But that means that we need to focus less by targeting this persona. We focus less on the sustainability factor, more on the functionality of the product. And this is why when we get stuck into one specific area or one audience persona, we are really leaving everybody else who's a potential target audience. Like we're not reaching them and we're not converting them into customers. I know that it's a little bit more easy to create customer personas based on what we think, our gut feeling, or maybe we know that one customers and we base the whole persona on it. This is not the proper really approach to do that. A customer persona is not necessarily one person. It's a segment of people who have the same motivation. So you might have a lot of customers that resemble that persona that you think is ideal for you, but you need to little bit validate it. So where do you find this info? Of course, if you're starting a business or at the early stages of a business, you can launch a survey that confirms or kind of gets an information on whether your product actually solves a problem and has market need, but also to try and see who is your, sorry, again, guys, please, if you can stay muted, that would be great. So you want to validate and try to understand who is your potential customers. So that's a very important and somehow easy way to do that. If you have a website, if you have an e-commerce website or even an informational website, you can tell a lot by the people who are visiting it. So there is a slight risk here if you actually do that, that you might forget to differentiate between the visitors and the customers. So you might have a lot of visitors to your website. I don't know who are coming from like teenagers in a specific country. They are visiting the profile, visiting the website, but they are not converting to customers if you have an e-commerce website. So you don't want to necessarily consider them a persona, but you might want to see why they are visiting and not converting. And maybe they are not your customers or your ideal customers in the first place. So ideally, if you have e-commerce, you can base some persona research on your current customers, but you want to expand a little bit and try to see whether your product or service can also mean something different to other people or expand to a new customer base. You can also look at your following on social media. Do you see like some groups that are emerging from your followers? What content do they like the most? This also gives you an indication of what they resonate with. What is the messaging? Sometimes it could be non-product related, but that also means that there is an interest or people have hobbies in that section that you can use to do, I don't know, collaborations with other brands or do influencer marketing. So these are in general a very good indication of who your potential customers are. You can also check, for example, customer reviews. When you do that, you can see what are the things that people are highlighting in their customer reviews. Are they talking about the sustainability of the product, the durability of the product? Are they talking about how responsive you were when they had an issue? So that actually can help you really better understand how you can customize your messaging further, or what people are liking the most about the experience or your product. And last but not least, this is less likely to be the case with small businesses, but sometimes when you're actually selling a service or something that is a little bit more maybe expensive, you would have a sales and support team. And usually they are the people who hear about the objections first. Did they tell the team that, for example, the price point is very expensive? You might want to decide to review that or say, okay, let's offer an entry level offer for these potential customers. Or maybe we are not actually targeting the right audience. The right audience would not find our product very expensive and should be able to convert easily. So having the synergy between sales and marketing is very important for you to be able to customize as well beyond just the personas. That brings us to my favorite section, which are the templates and the tools. So I know many, hopefully, you've already are familiar with the HubSpot Make Your Persona tool. That is an online tool that you can use to complete it. But I think it's a little bit good for like a first time experience doing personas, but it's good if since we're doing this webinar to go a little bit more advanced and try to look at other tools that have been developed and implemented successfully many times in order to see how they differentiate, and then you can pick the tool that works the best for you. So one of my favorite ones is what we call an empathy map, for a very simple reason that the word speaks about it. It's empathy. So trying to put yourself in the shoes of your potential customer and then really seeing things from their perspective. So basically what the empathy map does is it's a very simple tool, but it captures basically what the customer says, thinks, does, or feels. So it's 4 sections, as you can see them, that really prioritize. So we move away a little bit from the demographics here, but we focus more on the mindset, on how does the product relate to everyday lives for Jamie in that case. So I've taken an example of someone who wants to buy a TV. And then you can look at the different things Jamie says to himself. Maybe Jamie is a girl in that case, but whatever. Jamie says to himself or herself, or what they think, what they say to other people. It might be somehow different because what people tell other people is sometimes different than what they actually do. So in that case, for example, you can see Jamie saying what size is best for a TV. I want something reliable, so we know that this is important for them. What brand do you like? So asking their friends, for example, what brand is your TV? Where should I start? I mean, that's a very valid thing to say when you have so many options. And then in their mind, they say, why is this so hard to pick a TV? Why there are so many options? Do they think I'm stupid? Because that also happens when people go to buy a car. You can easily hear stuff that the salesperson is saying and have no idea if it's true or not. What is best for me? But then how do they feel? They feel overwhelmed, but at the same time excited, overwhelmed because there are so many options. So this is also something where we can see how we can shape our messaging by simplifying this process. Instead, how they cope with this, they check different websites, they do list of pros and cons, they do more research. Now we can add to this, they ask ChatGPT. They make small decision, but then postpone big decision. So this kind of gives you an idea of how Jamie thinks, feels, does, and says in their day-to-day as it relates to buying a TV. Of course, in that case, we're assuming we are selling a TV. Another tool that I like to use, this is one that is in conjunction with the value proposition, because technically these two things tie in together. So you can see this value proposition Canva that is connected to the audience personas. So you have on the right the customer profile. In general, as I said, when we focus on jobs to be done, each product that they buy has a job that they're bought them to do. So what are they trying to achieve in the job, even if this is not something that they will use in the job? But in the case of the TV, they are trying to improve their entertainment experience at home by buying a TV that has good sound, good image, whatever. So every product has a job. What is their pain? So what frustrates these customers? And what do they gain out of it? So either in general, any product either solves the pain or gives a gain by when you buy it. So for example, here you have a customer that wants to do meal planning, want to manage money, buying food and buying gifts. So all of these are the jobs to be done. The gains are basically the gains when we talk about them is what do they gain from buying your product is greater access to items, quality, curbside pickup, rewards point, and convenience. And the gains or the pains in that case, they would they have long lines. They always need help. They need to ask people, unsure what's on sale, and can't find certain items. So for that, from that ideal customer, we can extract a value proposition for your business. But that also very much based on you very well knowing your customer persona. So in that case, the value proposition Canva is basically also what are the products and services to help that person solve their customer jobs, and the gains and the pain reliever. So all of these gains that are in the audience persona become gain creators. So you flip them. For example, if their main thing is, for example, they don't want to wait in long lines, you have delivery. What they want is basically curbside pickup, and this is what you're offering. And they always need help or can't find items. You have the mobile app that provides availability and convenience. Pain relievers is basically how you address the pains that they have. Friendly service, so you can ask anybody for whatever support that you need. Self checkout, so you don't have to wait in long lines, and you can look up the price inside the store. I'm assuming this is a store. So basically your products and services are groceries, you have a reward plan, and you have the stuff. So you can see how it ties into it. So if the value proposition is very much tied into the customer persona, but you don't necessarily have a value proposition for each customer persona. Okay, this is basically a generalization in the beginning, and then you can have within that audience segment, you have women who have, I don't know, 4 kids. You have a man who wants to pick up a healthy meal after work. You have the woman who has no time to cook, for example. So this is where you can customize. But overall, you have an idea of who your audience customer persona is. Other tools as well, you have HubSpot, Make My Persona, this free tool. One other thing you can use in, of course, verify all of this information, but you can use tools like ChatGPT to get the raw reviews. So for example, you did a survey and you have some information, you can upload it to ChatGPT to create or to validate the persona, but also always really go back and check that the assessment is correct. And Jasper and Right Sonic is what you can use basically to customize the messaging. And of course, Typeform is a survey tool that you can use because it has a very high return on investment. So how does that translate from the persona to the messaging? And this is very funny cartoon that you can see where someone's saying like, our buyer persona is Al, he's Scorpio, he's 39 years old, he drives an Acura, watches Game of Thrones, and then at the end the salesperson is asking like, how will this help us sell ERP software? And the person answers, like, sales is your job, I'm marketing. So this is why I say like marketing and sales need to work. And it doesn't matter if Al is a Scorpio, if I don't know what kind of problems am I trying to help him solve. So if the pain, for example, is that person cannot find shoes that are very comfortable and the shoes hurt, then your marketing message should be all day comfort. If the objection is the price, then you have to highlight it's durable, sustainable, and sustainable materials. Of course, it's only if this is correct. If this is not correct, you don't want to make fake promises, but this is how you want to address your objections. And if usually the trigger, for example, if the person actually is convinced by other people's recommendation, and you can say trusted one by 1 million plus people. Also, sorry, the personas and the messaging really need to be tied into your marketing funnel. So at the awareness level, you need to have hooks that bring this person to either your website or to your landing page or your Instagram account. After that, you need to focus on consideration and FAQs. We'll see in the case study now. Reviews. At the purchase level, you need to give them proof or guarantees. And then at the retention, you do loyalty campaign. I think it will become a little bit more clear in this case study. So I made all of this up. None of this exists. But we imagine like we have a brand that's called EcoSip. Is a bamboo water bottle brand. They have a Shopify store and an Instagram channel, and water bottle costs $35 on average. And you can see here their a little bit their marketing, their visuals of the product, and their Shopify store. So one example is Sarah. Okay, Sarah is, so in that case, the audience persona is not Sarah. The audience persona is an eco-conscious millennial. So when someone asks you, who are your customers, you say eco-conscious millennial, and not Anne, who is 39, who is Scorpio, drives a Subaru, whatever it is. Sarah has goals to reduce environmental impact, invest in sustainable products, and make ethical lifestyle choices. Her pain points are limited availability of eco-friendly options and concern over greenwashing. Greenwashing is basically when brands say that they are eco-friendly, but they're not, or mislead in many ways when they actually are not sustainable at all. Also, her pain point is product can be expensive. Her buying triggers are sustainability features, recommendations from influencers, and in general, a positive brand reputation. So that's one type of persona, which is the eco-conscious millennial. Another persona, which is not the main one, the second one, is a fitness enthusiast. Ryan in that case. Ryan wants to stay fit and active and want to like improve his endurance and use sustainable products. It's maybe sideline. His pain points are limited options that suit his active lifestyle, concerns about plastic waste from disposable bottles, and need products that fit in with his routine. His objections is the higher price of eco-friendly item, which if he is less interested in sustainability makes a little bit of sense. And then the durability and ease of use. So his triggers is that he sees ads targeting his fitness goals and recommendation from trainers he follows or athletes that he trusts. They want something that is reusable but durable material, convenient for gym and outdoor use, and has a positive environmental impact. So you see here, it's different. We're focusing on the gym, and you would see a little bit in the examples and the marketing messages. But there's also like an additional customer persona who is mainly not the first one or the second one, but the third one. And it's David. David is starting a new job that requires a lot of travel. And he wants to be able to stay hydrated throughout busy work days, have a convenient spill-proof bottle for commuting and travel. His pain point is finding a bottle that fits. He doesn't care if these big Stanley, are they Stanley big cups that all people are using. He wants something that is easy to carry, goes in a briefcase or bag. And he doesn't want to worry about leaks. He doesn't want to get to a meeting, open his bag, and then see that his water is all over his contracts. He's unsure if it's leak proof, as I mentioned, and if it has good insulation so it can keep both hot and cold. His decision criteria are compact, suitable, durable, high quality, and wants to see like a positive review and brand reputation. So what does that mean? That means that for Sarah, we will have a message focused on sustainability, ethical life choices. We want to tackle objections that are it's too expensive and is it really eco-friendly? Remember, Sarah has a problem with greenwashing. So some marketing messages that will actually work very well. Every sip saves the planet. This is an ad headline that we can have on Instagram because this is where she spends her time. On the product page, we can have certified bamboo, ethically sourced, built to last, and no greenwashing. We just say it as it is, just real sustainability. Also, if you're doing email marketing, you can say your eco-friendly swap starts here. And the influencer angle could be that you collaborate with eco bloggers who really focus on sustainability. And another good social media hook would be one reusable bottle equal 365 fewer plastics in the ocean. That means that you can, I mean, I've added these, but I don't think I'm going to go through all of them. But you can just read them quickly, but you can see how it ties into the funnel segmentation. So at each level of the funnel, you have different messaging. Blog post at the consideration that focuses on greenwashing. At the purchase, you can commit that it's 100% sustainable, and at the retention, you can encourage them to share on Instagram to show how they're helping to improve the environment. For Ryan as well, we said we focus on performance, durability, and lifestyle fit. His potential objection are, is it durable enough? So you can see that in the ad headline, you have lightweight, durable, and gym tested. So this is one example where you see, okay, this ad speaks to me because these are exactly my concerns. Engineered to outlast every workout, it's leak-proof and made from natural bamboo. He doesn't want his lifestyle to slow him down, so you say, no, let your bottle slow you down, train harder, hydrate smarter. Built for workouts, built for you, and you can partner with gym trainers or fitness YouTubers showing the bottle in action. And finally, you have David, who is the busy professional. He wants convenience. He wants to maintain a professional image. And basically, his platforms are a little different. He works on LinkedIn, email, and basically Amazon product review. So the ad headline could be hydration. That means business. You see how it's tied into business because, but it also hydrates well. A bottle designed for work and travel. It's sleek, spill-proof, and professional. You can also say from boardroom to commute, so you can stay hydrated in style, wherever you are. And your desk deserves better than plastic. And again, in the Amazon reviews that you highlight, you can showcase that it's leak-proof and has a professional design. So basically, these are a few ways that I wanted to translate how the audience persona actually makes a difference. And some people know how to do audience persona, but do not really use it to be able to extrapolate the marketing messages. And we tend to forget about it. So it's a really a good exercise from time to time to go back a little bit to, okay, but who is it supposed to speak to? Who are the people who will respond to this ad? Who are we talking to? Every time you create content for your product, every time your marketing team sends you a content calendar or an ad, who is this persona? And we can do this in multiple ways. So if you use, for example, Excel sheets or a template for content creation on social media, you can simply add another column, say, name the personas that you're targeting with each post. So this way you don't get distracted. You don't get distracted from forgetting who it is from. I will pause here for a little second. I know that there are a few questions in the chat. Give me a minute to drink a little bit of water. And in the meantime, I will run our usual poll that I will ask you to quickly complete to give us a little bit of an idea whether this was useful and interesting, and um, to better prepare materials for you. Thank you, Elvira. I know you're sending them to me, the questions. Yes, there will be a recording. All right. I see first question. We'll give you a minute to complete. I see 8 people have already completed, so keep it up. 11. I'm on 12, 13, 14. I said I will take a small break, but it doesn't seem that I am doing that. 16, 18. All right. So one question I've seen is this relevant to B2B customers? This is absolutely relevant to B2B customers. It's exactly the same. You do the same process, except their objections usually are, for example, uh, it's going to be hard. Let's say you are selling software or an ERP software in that case. How hard is it going to be to convert or to merge from the previous provider to you? What kind of facilities would you give me? Okay, but I don't know you and I don't trust you yet. What can we do to? These are the things. So the objections would be more towards the pricing, usually, but also it's a little harder for people to switch providers, to go from someone they've known for a while to another one. So you will have more effort to do on the objections. And this is something you can work on in your sales technique or sales approach. Maybe provide a little more demo, so you can demo the product if this is again a product or a service. You can do more demo. You can highlight more customers review. You can have case studies or white papers, things that highlights more effectively, because it requires like more decision making. They need more time to decide whether they want to buy your product or service when we talk about B2B. But yes, absolutely. Okay, so I see. So this is the first question. I think we've answered the question on how can we prepare personas. It needs to be basically a little bit of survey and a validation. You can do research depending on what is the product you're selling. Some information is available online sometimes. But yeah, it needs to be a combination of more than one more than one source. But first, good start is survey if you don't already have a website or a social media follow. I think there's another question from Leah. If I understand correctly, a standard business can make new lines of product to cater to the needs of various groups of consumer. As the business grows and the needs arises, thereby changing buyer personas and stakeholders. Absolutely, the buyer persona is not meant to stay the same forever. Definitely, also when you first launch a business, you have an idea of the buyer persona. With time, that might change. You can see that. Okay, you are getting some customer from this buyer persona segment, but your easier customer in terms of less objections and they convert faster are another segment. So usually you want to have two or three, not many, because I mean, doesn't mean that other people won't buy your product, but it means that you focus on those. And then you can, if you add different products, of course, sometimes you add different products, you develop different customer segments, and that would be a change altogether. So we're not meant to really stay stuck with the same personas. I hope that answered. Thank you, Mari. I'm happy you found it useful. And I can see some people are planning to connect later through the chat box. So I'm really happy about this. Remember, you can also do the same on Ecom Connect. You can create your own company profiles, but also introduce yourself in the chat, comment, exchange, not only on the chat box here. Kevin is asking, how do we build personas for businesses? I deal with okay, so edible oils. Would building personas on the business help in correcting targets? And if so, the process same or does it differ? Okay, I think I'm not sure if I'm understanding correctly, but the same process applies for any business and any sector. Okay, it's just the result will be different. And if you have a product and you don't have customer persona, definitely I would recommend that you do that. To have maybe one persona and try to see whether these are your actual customers. But the risk is that if you just try to basically do it all from gut feeling and not research, that you might be imagining that this is your persona. But yeah, definitely, absolutely, you can do it for any business and any sector. Persona is basically how you pitch your product. Absolutely correct. As same products being used by different customer persona. This is very, very true. But again, the way you pitch it for customer segment one is a little different than the way you pitch it for customer segment two. But overall, yeah, it ties into your value proposition, which is basically your elevator pitch that you give everybody. So when they ask you, you tell them, "Oh, I have edible oils edible oils for athletes that are super safe to use and I don't know are easy to absorb." Here, this is a business or a customer persona or a value proposition, whatever you want to call it. None of this exists. I'm just making stuff up. But this is how it should be explained or at least pitched. I think I've answered all of the questions. Is there anything I might have missed? We're just giving a few minutes until Micha and Aisa could finalize exchanging information so we don't delete the chat. So yeah, please make sure to save the numbers and information of the people you want to connect with. I think I'm going to stop here. It's the first time I actually manage a webinar to finish on time. Usually I take 10 or 15 minutes more because I just overpacked my presentation. But I think hopefully everyone is leaving this session a little bit more comfortable with creating bio personas. And if you want, and if you are a member of the Ecom Connect community, try to create your customer persona and post them on the live feed. I would be happy to provide some information. Don't send them by WhatsApp. I might miss those. But definitely post them on the live feed. And I think that would help as an example for everybody to see how our people are progressing in the audience persona development. Thank you very much. And I hope everyone has a good evening.
Thank you, and see you again.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you for your presentation. It was very, very interesting. Thank you so much. Speaking from Cameroon.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think everybody exchanged details now. I can close this session and hopefully see you next time as well. Bye.